All right, guys, welcome back to League 365 podcast. As you can see today, it's a little bit different. It's just me in front of the camera. And we thought that we'd get a video out today just to break down the huge breaking news that happened yesterday regarding Payne Haas and his move to South Sydney. So, as you probably all know now, Payne will link up with the Rabbitohs in 2027. And it caught me and probably every other footy fan by surprise. We heard no rumours, no whispers about this happening, and then just bang, yesterday the news breaks, and he'll be living in Brisbane at the end of 2026, linking up with the Rabbitohs. And this is massive. Thinking back to some of the big signings and transfers that happened over the last 10, 20 years, and for me, this is one of the biggest I've ever seen. You think of Cronk going to Roosters, or, Latrell going to South, even GI going to South back in the day. But this is right up there with all those signings for mine. And the fact that we heard nothing about this. South kept it under wraps. Payne Haas and his management kept it under wraps. And I think that's what made it more shocking to everyone. We're all sitting here yesterday, and no one thought that Payne Haas would go to South. I personally thought he'd stay at Brisbane and be a one-club player, but credit to South and Wayne and the management there. They've been able to get a deal done, and it's monstrous for that club. If you think back the last few years, South have struggled to make the 8. I don't think they've made the 8 the last couple of years, and middles and forwards have been one thing they've really struggled with. So to get arguably the best prop in the game and arguably one of the best players in the game in Payne to the club is humongous for that club. They're a big Sydney club, and their fans demand success. So, credit to them for pulling off a massive, massive signing. And if you just look at their pack that they're going to run out in 2027, you got Payne and Jai Arrow in the forwards, in the props, and Brandon Smith will most likely be the hooker. If you look at that back row, you got Tallis Duncan, who's an emerging star in my opinion, and a future representative player. And then on the other edge, you got David Feeder, who goes there this year and looks to get some confidence back in his game. And then you got the great Cam Murray at lock. That's arguably the best forward pack in the game in 2027. Verdict's out on who'll play in the halves, and if Cody will still be there, he probably won't be. Latrell will probably be centre, Jai Gray 1, and all of a sudden you look at that South Sydney side, and that's a side that probably should compete for a premiership from 2027 onwards. I'm still shocked about the news, but it's a great signing. What can you say? What more can you say when you can get arguably one of the best players in the game to go to your club, so all credit goes to South Sydney and Wayne for pulling this off. And even though I'm a Roosters fan, I'm excited to see how he goes down there at the Burrow, and it'll be interesting to see what happens from here. On the flip side, Brisbane, they're in a bit of a transition period after this year. They're going to lose Payne, who's been their enforcer there and their main man for the last 5-6 years. Adam Reynolds is about to announce his retirement as well, so they're in a bit of a transition, and I feel like they're going to give it a red-hot run at the premiership again this year in 26. But then after that, I feel like they're in a bit of a transition rebuild, I guess you could call it. Jonah Pezzle will go there, and a few blokes who have been a staple of that side for the last couple of years are leaving. So their premiership window, I feel like, is this year, and then it might close for a little bit. But South, what I'd be doing this year is I'd be figuring out who my long-term 6, who my long-term 7 is, and who I want to play hooker as well, because obviously they got Brandon Smith, Peter Marmazoulis, Bronson Garlick. I'd be using this year as a sort of planning for the future. Figure out those combos in the spine, because your forward pack's set. Your forward pack is now set for the next 5 years, with Haas, Arrow, Fafita, Murray, Duncan. You don't have to touch that. You don't have to worry about that. I'll be worrying about the spine positions, and most likely the 6 and the 7. Who's going to play there Is it going to be Humphreys moving forward? Jaden Sullivan? I know Jonah Glover went there from Dragons, who had some good raps on him. But yeah, Cody probably moves on at the end of this year and use this year to really bleed some young blokes in the halves and figure out how you're going to transition once Cody leaves, moving into 27. Because even though that forward pack is going to be stacked, you still need a 6 and a 7 to control the side and to help deliver points. So yeah, that's basically my opinion on the Haas signing. Massive news. And also, guys, just keep an eye out for Wednesday morning's episode. We've got the CEO of Newtown Jets coming on this week to talk all things, a footy club, and talking about how to run footy clubs behind the scenes, and just a little bit background on his life story and his career in footy. So it'll be good. So keep an eye out for that. We're also going to head out to Anson Park on Sunday, film some content. So I think the Newtown Jets are playing the reserve grade game and the Sharks and Eels are playing the first grade game. But keep an eye on our socials. We're going to drop that episode on Wednesday morning. So thanks, guys.